Hello, we are Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, Max Barr of Southeastern 14 here to preview Tennessee's game with South Carolina. This one in Blake's favorite venue, the Food City Center in Knoxville. Teams have not met this year, don't have a line as we're doing it, but looks like Tennessee should be about an 11 to 11.5 point favorite based on Bart Torvik and Ken Pomeroy. Probability of winning around 87% before I throw it to Blake to get his opening take. A reminder, it's Super Bowl time. The road to Vegas has gone through San Francisco and Baltimore and emerged with the Niners and the Chiefs. BetOnline is your number one source for football odds, stats, trends, and lines with everything on point spreads to hundreds of player performance props. Head to BetOnline today. Stay updated on all the action. BetOnline. The game starts here. Blake, two teams playing pretty well. South Carolina got a historic win over Kentucky last week. The Vols continue to roll number one in our power rankings this week. How do you see this one shaking out?
Let me just give you my prediction right now. Just straight up. Just go
That's
right
a little
into
bit of
my
a strong
pick.
intro, wasn't it?
Blake, give me your pick before we talk about the game. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, like we said, I think South Carolina has adopted some Tennessee tendencies defensively, and I think that's good because I think that, that's going to be their best path to winning here is due to Tennessee, what Tennessee does to other teams, and that is bump them around, be physical, all that. Now, it's different going on the road, as South Carolina knows, where, maybe being physical results in a few more foul calls and those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a fun matchup just based on two teams in the top five in our power rankings. Tennessee's at 1, South Carolina moves into the top 5 after a great week. And, again, this is where I don't really doubt South Carolina in these kind of spots anymore. I think initially it was like, well, let's see what happens, right? But I know they got blown out at Alabama. Could they get blown out at Tennessee? Tennessee, as good as they are, they can blow anybody out in the SEC at home because they did it to the number 2 team in our power rankings this week, Alabama. So they can do it to anybody. But I don't know. I feel like the way that South Carolina plays, the style, if they can continue the theme of being able to control the game a little bit in terms of the half court, stopping transition stuff where you don't want to let Dalton get out and go. You don't want to let Ziegler and all these guys just push the ball to where what happens, right? You lose your man. All of a sudden you look out and one of those three, Ziegler, Vescovy, Connect, they're just waiting. Gainey, I mean, there's more than 3. They're just waiting at the 3-point line to make you pay for it or waiting, to get a dunk on the other side of the paint. So all those things are going to come into play here for South Carolina. But man, I think this is a team playing with a lot of confidence right now. And I would be surprised if South Carolina goes in and just, has a repeat of what we saw at Alabama. For some reason, I don't think that's going to be the case here.
Yes, it's going to be interesting because South Carolina's not afraid of anybody right now. And that's a powerful thing. But I do think that after looking at this game, there's a lot of things to like here on the Tennessee side. South Carolina playing the slowest tempo in the conference. They like to play with the lead. They do not like to try to have to claw back and up the tempo and find ways to come back from behind. Past 3 games here, because they are on a 3-game winning streak, they've played the 9th, 11th, and 14th ranked defenses in the SEC. So now they get the best, in my opinion. So you have a major uptick in defense. I think there's a really big individual matchup at the 4 between Murray Boyles and Josiah Jordan-James. Both 6'7", around the 220, 230 range. We've seen Murray Boyles win the matchup against Trevon Brazile against Arkansas. He's been playing some great basketball. I think he's going to kind of meet his match in a kind of a guy that plays the same way, but it's 4 years older, in Jordan James. But on the flip side, looking at it from a South Carolina angle, if you like to play slow as can be, you're knocking down 3-point shots at a high rate, and you're catching a Tennessee team that has to go to Kentucky on Saturday, who might be looking ahead to that huge game already. So there's motivational sides on both that I like here. And with a spread of what, 11 and a half, 12, the way that this South Carolina team has been playing, I don't know. I see sides on both here that lead me to believe both teams can find success.
You guys both said things that I think are important. Max, I'll start with you, or I guess it was Blake that said this. He talked about just Carolina being able to, my words here, just adapt. I mean, this is a team that lost Miles Studi a couple games ago.
Right.
We're like, okay, this is a team that got picked last. It's not a bunch of household names. That's the straw that'll break the camel's back a little bit. Well, no, they come out and destroy Kentucky at home. Last time out, Michi Johnson, one of their biggest guns on the team, gives them no points. They win anyway. This is a team that has just found a way. Now, I do think running into Tennessee and Knoxville is a different story. But I do think that and what you guys said about tempo, when we have seen Tennessee get gummed up over the years, the Vols, and it's less prevalent with Connect, but they've had those droughts where they go 5 minutes without a field goal or 10 minutes with 5 points or whatever. I mean, we've all seen it. And the interesting thing about South Carolina, guys, is that the Gamecocks, you mentioned tempo on both sides of the ball. Carolina's offense will grind you out. 341 in possession on that side. Tennessee's defense will grind you, 319th in tempo on that side. But where it's kind of interesting, we saw South Carolina really gum Kentucky up, and Tennessee plays the 48th fastest tempo. I don't know if South Carolina will be able to dictate tempo on that end like that, but two things interesting to watch. That said, we're going to start with picks. I'm going to go ahead and give you mine. I think Tennessee is the best team in this league. Alabama is a really good team. We saw what Alabama did after that visit to Knoxville. What happened to Alabama when it visited Knoxville? Tennessee did its thing, exerted its will. I just kind of know better than to pick against Tennessee at Food City, and I'll take the Vols. How about you, Max?
Yeah, I mean, look at all three of the home wins Tennessee has in conference play. All good teams. Ole Miss, we've seen, is getting better. Florida's getting better, and Alabama's number 2 in our power rankings. They smoked them all. It wasn't even competitive. It wasn't even fun to watch how much of a blowout all three of these games were. So, knowing how dominant Tennessee has been at home, South Carolina has been able to soak up the Studi loss with threes from Jacoby Wright and Zachary Davis and guys stepping up. It's going to be much harder to do at Tennessee. I do think that if South Carolina can play super slow, we saw Mississippi State kind of have some success against Tennessee with that. So I do think that they have a path with how confident that they're playing and how they've been making shots, but I can't pick against Tennessee at home here. I can't do it.
Well. Look at the way this thing's setting up here. So keep in mind, Max brought it up in part, but to take it a step further, only one team has played Tennessee within 18 points in Knoxville this season, and that is Illinois, who lost by 7 on December the 9th in that game. Everybody else has just gotten blown out. And I think this is where, to me, South Carolina's experience, their confidence right now, knowing that everyone's going to pick against them again in this game, to me, South Carolina's kind of got them where they want them. I mean, that was, I think that's exactly where they want to be. And Lamont Paris can just continue to use the same tool that he's used all year long in terms of, hey, you just dominated Kentucky. You blew them out. Yet nobody still thinks you can do this. Like they are still questioning whether you can come in and beat a team like Tennessee. Of course, we all are, because Tennessee has just been an absolute beast at this point, again, specifically in Knoxville. So I think that's at least interesting to note here is that, and Max brought up another point too, everybody can say there's no look-ahead games and all this other stuff, but it is a proven fact. Like we see this every year in SEC basketball. We saw it. The South Carolina-Missouri game was kind of one of those where they're not looking ahead, although essentially they could have been, right? but they're coming off of such a performance against Kentucky where you just, is inevitable. There's going to be a little bit of a letdown. So they didn't play as well, but they won the game against Missouri. This is one where, yes, we all know about the Tennessee-Kentucky game, what that means. It's a huge game. But at the same time, I think Rick Barnes knows, look at the record of the team you're playing. Like, you guys can look at Kentucky on the schedule and all this, but South Carolina's 17-3. They should not be sneaking up on anybody anymore. And so I think Rick Barnes can use that to his advantage. And yes, I am also going to pick Tennessee here, even though I worry that our father, Lamont Paris, we're all going to be in trouble here with this one. We're not going to get our allowance. We're not going to, we're going to be sent to our room before we can even play video games or go outside and play kickball or all this other stuff, right? And so just know, South Carolina fans, we don't even have to make new graphics if South Carolina wins this game. We've already got them on standby, where the Three Stooges will be back. My Three Sons. Max, we don't even have to get creative anymore. We got this one ready to pull up at any time. So we all pick against South Carolina again. That's worked out for the Gamecocks this season. So there you go, South Carolina fans. Tennessee just, I am very intrigued by how South Carolina defends Tennessee, though, because I think that is something we've seen what they did to Kentucky. It's a different beast going to Tennessee, but that is fascinating to me. And also, Miles Studi is going to be available to play, so I think that's important too. South Carolina is seemingly going to get one of their best players back. How does that impact the game here? So we'll see.
I'm not sure we're in trouble. Daddy's always watching. He's watching his kids, and what did his kids just do, Max?
I call him dad or father. You call him daddy.
We're close. We're close like that.
Jeez.
Max, what have we just done?
What we have done is we have broken the curse that Lamont Paris has over us right now, because there is no way Tennessee is losing this game.
Oh, no.
No way.
Oh, wow.
There's no way.
Southeastern 14 kiss of death is what we have
There's
done.
no way.
No, Chris, we gotta retire that theory, because it didn't really hurt us that much. It didn't work last week. Yeah,
but it's a nice narrative to go with.
I will be watching this game with a shovel right next to
Max, though, just took it to a level that we haven't really taken it to before. So you better believe we're going to be looping that right there.
Someone's got to do it.
All right, Max is all in on the Vols here. So
I mean, they're going to be a minus 11.5 favorite or something. So it's not too bold, but
seem bold. I mean, what was the line against Alabama?
For Tennessee?
Yeah.
I think it was 5.5.
I mean, that Tennessee blew by that. It's just a different team at home. I mean, Tennessee's good anywhere, but
I'm so nervous now. I shouldn't have said that. Jeez.
All right. All in good fun. We had fun doing this. We take our SEC basketball seriously. We don't take ourselves too seriously. Thank you for watching our preview of South Carolina and Tennessee. For Blake Lovell and Max Barr, this is Chris Lee. This is Southeastern 14 presented by BetOnline.